The only way for me to think and write and get inspired is through music. It helps me with the rhythm, the mood I'm looking for. I listen to music and my mind goes places.
I first met Jimmy Caruso, it was probably the fall of 2014, and we had a development fair at Columbia University. I met about 30 people that night, 30 filmmakers. I met Jimmy.
I was following closely the war in Syria, and we were all reading and watching things about ISIS and how brutal and shocking what they were trying to do was. Growing up in the Middle East and having lived in New York and now being in LA, it gives you perspective. I started thinking of the idea of Nocturne Black when I heard that music has been banned.
I just tried for a moment to imagine living in a world with that kind of restriction, and it really spoke to me, and I thought, this is a universal theme.
When I first read the script, I was very moved by it, and I thought it had tremendous opportunity there. I feel like the execution of the script was well beyond what I thought possible, to be quite honest.
Ideally, I wanted to shoot in Syria, but we couldn't for obvious reasons. So we scouted for like a couple of weeks, found places in Lebanon.
I had conference calls with Jimmy and also with Mark, who was the producer in Lebanon. And at that time, we had some serious constraints. And for a moment, the film was in real danger of not being made.
It's a very ambitious film. It's working on a pretty big scale from a production side. And so when he brought the footage back and I saw the first cut, I was pretty dumbfounded at what they were able to accomplish.
Nocturne Black is about a musician who struggles to rebuild his piano after it is destroyed by jihadists. The story takes place in a war-ravaged Middle Eastern neighborhood where daily activities such as smoking tobacco, modern dressing, or music has been banned.
Jimmy's film really pulled at people's heartstrings because it's a very strong statement and defense of human rights. The rights of musicians, the rights of imaginations in countries or places where those things are forbidden.
We express ourselves in language, in imagery, in movement. That's what we do. That's the species we are. So if you tell people that they can't do that, then you're actually telling them that they can't be human.
From the moment that we played the Columbia Film Festival as a start in May, it's been extremely well received. It's played at Telluride, it's played in Los Angeles. Jimmy won the DGA Award. He's also won the Student Academy Award, which was a huge honor.
The film is so timely because of what's going on in the world today. Refugees and their status in the world is in flux, as well as just what does an individual do in a society when they are confronted with things that they don't agree with. The other thing about the film is that it's about art and how art can save us.
Artists are always prescient, but not because, as people think, they see the future, but because they're looking closely at the present.
Film, dance, literature, people count on the arts whether they know it or not. And what I used to think of was just a sort of escape from the real world, I now understand is a necessity.
What would be a society where humans really treated each other with tremendous compassion? A society where we recognize that we are one species and that race didn't matter and class didn't matter and point of origin didn't matter. Artists are holding in their consciousness and in their work the possibility of hope and a possibility of another kind of world. They're the ones.
Art is definitely about connecting people. We're all driven by love, compassion, anger. We feel the same things wherever we're from. When people are hopeless and desperate, it becomes easier to turn to extremism. And in a world that is torn by wars, fanaticism, devastation, art is a mighty tool that helps us fight extremism and terrorism. So thank you to the Academy for joining our fight.
The more times people of different cultures, different races, different religions get together in rooms working out what their project is going to be, that is world changing. That's obviously world changing.
We have to fight for our humanity and keep moving forward and bettering ourselves, I think. That's what I try to do, at least.